Hi, my name is Sherry, and I have created a YouTube channel. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've never been on camera or felt comfortable necessarily doing something with me in it, especially me right now. I'm 45. I was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and well, it was when I was 43, so just a couple of years ago. Few years ago. Anyway, I've always had stage fright. I am perimenopausal, and I live in a country that I immigrated to 11 years ago, which is England, and I'm originally from America. Uh, I moved here. I gave up everything that I knew or that I had to come here to be with my husband, who is a Geordie. He owned his own business here, so it wasn't like it wasn't something that he could move there and that would be working. Just wasn't in the cards. That's not something that we even contemplated because he had his business. So I was more than willing to go the other way. Plus, I mean, it's England. I didn't know how I would cope. Um, I have to say it was quite a culture shock. I didn't think it was gonna be such a culture shock, considering, it's England. It's not like I'm learning another language or anything like that, but it was very different. I was not prepared for the difference in everything, in food, in words, in way of life, in how people looked at me and accepted me differently here versus in America. They were certainly more accepting of me here, which was a breath of fresh air. It was great. I mean, you're going to have people who talk down at you no matter where you are or where you go. That's just inevitable because you've got idiots and assholes that are all around the world. But I wanted to do this because I feel like I have lots to share. I'm a fairly creative person, and my kids are grown. They're 25 and 20. I've got two boys, and I'm ready to start a different chapter in my life. I am not a skinny person, so I understand that there's going to be some judgment, which I think we as a human race should really start thinking about how much we judge people and being a little bit more tolerant of things that don't really matter, things that make individuals individual, or even if, like me, I'm when I moved to this country, I had lost 100 pounds and kept it off for 7 years. But because the food here was so different, I didn't have any friends. I had to learn how to drive on the other side of the road with the steering wheel on the other side of the car. And the roads were chaotic when I first saw them. I wasn't even sure that I was going to be able to get my mind around it. Because when I saw that there were certain streets and stuff that were literally sharing this way, and somebody's got to pull off or pull onto a curb or pull out to let somebody by, or worst comes to worst, back up all the way down the lane until there's a place to actually pull away and out of the way so somebody can get by you. It was just different. I do love it here, and I love the people, but it did take me a lot to get used to it. A lot. And I think my weight gain was a symptom of all the stress, because I really felt alone when I first moved here. for a very, very long time. I mean, I got a job right away, and I even worked at Sky for like 6 years. I worked at EE. It was not the most glamorous thing. EE was probably the worst job I've ever had because it was just awful. The people were awful. The people were stuck up. I mean, the manager I had was just, I can't even describe it, but I can tell you this. It's not something I want to repeat. They paid you nothing compared to what Sky did. Sky, pretty much, I earned double what I was making at EE. And it was the same freaking work. So, yeah, I really had to find myself, find my feet, find my comfort zones. And where I couldn't find comfort, I had to adapt and find a place that I could grow to feel comfortable. And I've done that. I have done that. I'm also going to be getting bariatric surgery. I went through the classes twice. I did it once before COVID and decided not to get the surgery because I was going to try to do it on my own. But being in my 40s, mid 40s now, it is so much harder. And I think because of the perimenopause, and even now that I found out more about how ADHD can affect that, I think that's got a big, I guess, so to speak, reason or cause for that to be much more, I don't even know what the word is. But anyway, this being my first video that I've ever made to talk to anybody outside of somebody in my family, I've never done anything public, but I just feel that there are other people in my same situations or has something that's kind of similar to the situation I'm in, or maybe going through a stage of something similar. I mean, it was hell for the immigration stuff. It was hell for trying to get my residential status. And they didn't make it easy. They made me feel sometimes like a criminal, like I was trying to fight to show that I was worth it, that I deserved to be here, which isn't, well, it shouldn't be the case, not isn't. It shouldn't be the case. I just recently found out that I don't even know how much of my DNA is European, but I can tell you what, most of it's European. If not all of it is European. And I think it's about 40% that is UK, meaning Scottish, Welsh, English, some Irish, but I've got Lithuanian. There was some that was French. There was lots. German, quite a few things. It was really strange to find out my DNA profile because we had always been told that our grandfather was half Cherokee. Or if it wasn't my grandfather, it would have been his dad. So my great grandfather. I'm not entirely sure who because I never knew any of them. I only had two grandmas when, well, as far back as I can remember, because everybody else had died at the time I was born. I was an accident, by the way. My parents were not expecting me. I came 10 years after my sister and 7 years after my brother. They had a little girl, a little boy. They were quite happy with it. And I just happened to surprise them. And that came with its own struggles. Just because I think my dad didn't want another child. And I honestly don't think he had the temperament to take on another child and actually not be grumpy or mad and sometimes just really mean in such a cruel way. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into that, but I've really had to find myself over my lifetime. And I think even more so since I've gone here, I think I've really realized what matters and what doesn't matter, or the things that I used to think mattered that really don't. Like, what other people really think of me. Like, it shouldn't matter. I am who I am. Whether you accept me as who I am or not really is not important. What's important is me being authentic. Authentic to myself and authentic to others. I've really started working hard on looking inward, because that has started to really change my perception of life in general, of what I'm doing on this planet, why we're here. And it's made a really, really big change in me. I've started dabbling in meditation, which I can tell you this, I didn't understand it years ago. I mean, even 10 years ago when I first moved here, people were suggesting to me to do meditation because I had a lot of anxiety. I get stressed out and stuff because the job wasn't exactly stress-free. It was stressful because you were being pressured all the time. It was just that environment, it was just that environment. But anyway, and I just thought to myself, I'd never do that. I just don't get it, but I get it. I get it now. And even though I don't feel like I'm very good at it, because I'm still trying to understand how to watch my thoughts and observe them without dwelling on them and getting lost in them, to observe them and let them pass, let them go, let them flow through. Watch it come in, acknowledge it, and watch it go out. So that's where I'm at. And I am one of those kind of people who is very creative. So I will be doing all kinds of things, especially after I get my surgery, because then I'll be a lot more mobile. I've got a lot of joint issues. Both of my ankles have been broken in the past, so they're both unstable. I did have metal in the right one for 15 years. And I recently had that metal removed because when I would sit a certain way or turn my ankle a certain way, I could feel that something was moving and it was causing excruciating pain. So it took about 5 years before I finally got to have the surgery. From the moment that I set forward to do that, to figure out what was going on, and if that be the end result, then that be the end result. And that's what happened. I started that the same time I started going onto the ADHD list, which that in itself, I think it was on that for over 2 years. And then I had to go through titration, whatever the hell it's called. I'm not entirely sure how you say that word. And the medicine made such a big difference, but the problem is it was 3 pills a day. And I'm already taking, well, at that time, I was taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pills. And so I wanted to reduce the pills. Plus, I was feeling nauseous, and I wasn't sure if it was those pills because those were the newest thing to me. I assumed it was that. So I reduced it down to 1 a day. Stupid me. Because I let them know on the review, and then they brought my prescription down to 1 a day. But it's still the ones that are meant to be 3. So it's not like slow release. So I don't get the same benefits that I had. And I think it really helped the symptoms because as I approached perimenopausal age, it really, really became evident to me that there was something going on. I mean, I already knew that I had ADD at the very least. I'm positive that somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew it was ADHD. Both of my kids had it, especially my youngest. He was all over the place. But I just think that I needed the medication because the symptoms were escalating, or at least being so much more prevalent during perimenopause. So, yeah. Anyway, in a nutshell, that's a little bit of my history. I've decided that, well, I haven't really decided. I'm not entirely sure exactly which directions I'm going to go to, what works on here. So I'm just going to try some things because I've recently bought the most amazing tent possible. It's the Village 4 to 6 person tent nature hike. And it's the original one, the one that's got the blackout and the awning. Oh, it's freaking brilliant. I mean, I used to camp all the time when I was young, but this will require me to have to be able to do it on my own, which I made sure I set everything up in the back garden, which I was able to set it up by myself, even with my mobility issues, being the size that I am. And I tested it out to make sure I had all the things that I need to do, because I'm going to be doing this solo. My husband is not a camper. He's quite a bit older than me, so he is not an outdoors person in that sense at all. But I'm okay with that because I love camping. I love having a campfire. I love just having the isolation and the me time. It's the only time that I felt like I was in that meditation type of mode without knowing that's what I was in. So it's the closest to that feeling that I've ever had. And I look forward to doing it again. It's been about 20 years since I've camped, and I've never, ever camped alone, ever. I've always had at least one person with me, family or a partner, always. So this is just like a new path I'm going to try, and we'll see how it goes. I will be doing my own kind of craft stuff, which I paint, I do photography, I draw, and I'm going to be dabbling into stained glass, which I just bought a kit, and I'll be trying it from scratch. I'll probably do a video of me testing out, probably seeing how bad I start, or just throwing that into something, but like another video, like if I go camping and I want to do some crafts and stuff on it, I may do that. I don't know. But I am definitely doing adventures to some of the historical places here. I mean, even in the front of my estate, the Roman wall is underneath the ground in the front of my estate where they can't build. So we have like these big green areas that you have to drive past once you turn onto our estate. It's like a new estate. It's only 12 years old, and we've lived here for 10 years. No, it's 11 years old. We've lived here for 10 years. So we were the first people to live in this house. I mean, we literally had it custom to what we wanted, which was fantastic. But I haven't been able to get around to some of the most amazing places. I mean, I've been to Durham Cathedral, which I thought it blew my mind. I mean, they have, I don't even know what they call it, clergy, or they call it like the priest, or I'm not entirely sure what word they use, but the very first one that they had written on there was from the year 995. You don't see that in America. That's not something that you see. It's amazing to be able to walk up to something, stand inside a structure that's been up that long is mind-blowing to an American. It's mind-blowing. So there's another place, Jesmond. It was like walking through a fairy tale. I mean, this is like a public park that was created from Armstrong, is this guy's name. And he was very prevalent in Newcastle upon Tyne. And he created that and then ended up gifting it for public use. So I think it's brilliant. There's the most amazing waterfall that I got my picture taken in front of, which is exactly this profile picture that I have on this channel. That's that picture. That was the very first picture of me that was ever taken in this country that was pretty and scenic. And I'll always remember that. That's what I looked like when I first moved here. That's the size I was versus the size I am. And I will get back to that, if for nothing else but to have my mobility back, because I just want to be able to go for walks and enjoy the outdoors and find out about all these amazing historical places. I just can't get enough of it. I'm one of those people who can watch Discovery Channel, Science Channel, any of those things. Although I have stopped really watching regular TV recently. I've stopped watching the news. I'll if my husband turns it on while we're both in the living room, fine, fair enough. He can watch it. Normally, I won't pay attention. I'll just get on my tablet or something and mess around, play a game, do something, because I don't like their narrative and how everything is so negative, and it's just the worst of the worst of the worst. There's nothing positive on the news anymore. It's all shock and horror. And I don't want to live that way, because being in the now, like this moment, is what matters. And it's taken a very long time for me to realize that. So just stay tuned. If you're curious, if you want to know anything else more about me, or you just want to see whether or not you'll like my content, then feel free to subscribe or like. I know I'm not going to have a video up straight away. It'll be in a few weeks. But yeah, give me a go. If you don't like me, then you don't have to stay. Thank you.